As our technology enters a more advanced digital age with diverse technologies and endless possibilities in our mobile devices, we are immersed into new and inventive ways to get a message out to people through social media posts, photography, audio and film. Using video projectors to map light onto a surface, projection mapping turns 3D objects into interactive displays. Although projection mapping is a relatively new term, the first public example the technique can be traced back to is the 1960s, when Disneyland opened their Haunted Mansion ride in 1969.
In the months leading up to the mansion's grand opening, Disneyland released photos of its effects designer, Yale Gracie, posing with mock-ups of various ghosts. The most widely circulated of these photos was of an early prototype for the Hatbox Ghost. The evil, grinning face of a cloaked figure disappears from the body and reappears glowing hideously in a hatbox. A lighting effect, illuminating one area and darkening another.
So what exactly is projection mapping? Projection mapping, also known as video mapping, involves creating designs on a device and hooking this device up with one or more video projectors, which are then positioned to project the designs onto a 3D object and create an interactive display for audiences to enjoy and become immersed in. The larger the scale of projection, the more projectors will be required. Specialised software designed specifically for projection mapping is available to help make life easier when it comes to aligning and warping the virtual content with the physical objects. However, these softwares can be costly. So how does projection mapping help us? Well, when you normally have an image and project it onto a 3D object, such as a box or even something as big as a building, you will struggle in finding that the image does not fit that object, as the object will have different angles and will not always be a flat wall. This means your image will become distorted and not look very appealing, nor will it make any sense to an audience. If you only have a small and simple object that you want to project on, and only need one projector, then you might be able to get away with just adjusting the position of your projector manually. But this solution will not work for wider scale display, which may include multiple surfaces and projectors. In general, to pull off projection mapping you need 4 things: a projector, a computer with data you want to project, software to warp the data onto real-world objects, and an object or environment that you want your projected data to match. Harry Buckle is someone that works in the industry and has had experience with projection mapping.
Projection mapping is the technique of using one or more projectors to make a 3D image look more dynamic by using computer-generated imagery or a video file or whatever to sort of give the optical illusion of this made up, this computer-generated image, and make it seem like it's really existing in the world. Great examples of projection mapping would be things like Gorilla Live Show. In recent years, they've used projection mapping, so they'll set up all these very thin projection screens around the stage, and then the band members will show up on the stage, but in reality it's just smoke and mirrors to make it look like these cartoon characters are actually on the stage. It's a lot more dynamic and cool looking than just having a flat 2D video file in the background and having the real singers or the real, in certain cases, programmers or DJs in the background. Blurs the lines between what's real and what isn't. I definitely feel that it's a medium that works really, really strongly in live performances, or where you're actually just face to face with the projection, and it's just a lot more dynamic. People appreciate it more.
A better understanding of just exactly how projection mapping works and what is entailed, I thought I would have a go at creating my own. To start with, I had to connect a projector to my laptop so that what was on my computer screen would be projected onto my 3D object, which in this case was the cardboard box. I then got paint up and drew the outline of the box on my screen to fit the cardboard box on the table in front. From there I could see just how much space I had free to create my different drawings on paint, which would be projected onto the box. I saved each drawing as an individual file, which was then imported into Adobe Premiere Pro. I then imported a song called I Think We're Alone Now by Tiffany to accompany my drawings. I adjusted the length of the drawings so that they changed in time with the music and created a small projected show onto the box. The project was then exported into an MP4 video. The difficulty I found was making sure that everything lined up within the box perfectly. This involved adjusting the size of the window that the video was playing in over and over again until it looked about right. This projection was shown as part of a live event showcasing the content made onto a large building in front of a crowd as part of the IMAP 2016 competition held in Bucharest. This event presented the enormity of that which projection mapping is capable of. However, to create a piece of work like this would require much more in-depth knowledge into projection mapping, more experience, money, location permissions, and a hard-working team of professional creatives. This video is a live performance demonstrating projection mapping on moving objects. This video demonstrates how projection mapping can be used as decor, primarily at Halloween. This is an example of projection mapping being used as part of a live performance, where the content can enhance the look of a performance and the talent on stage seemingly interact with their background. The Wicker Man ride at Alton Towers includes a pre-show for riders before they sit in their seats on the roller coaster, which features projection mapping. The footage is projected from one single projector onto the face of what riders are led to believe is the Wicker Man that they are about to sacrifice themselves to. This adds to the immersion of the ride and builds up adrenaline for the riders, as it is frightening and puts them on edge as they are all placed in a room together to watch the show. If they weren't apprehensive about riding before, they will be once they've watched this show.
Let the ceremony commence.
Projector-based touchscreen technology turns any flat surface into a screen that you can not only interact with using your hands, but can also understand real-world objects and create an augmented reality version of the item. One of the most memorable film scenes is the projected hologram of Princess Leia asking for Obi-Wan Kenobi's help, which Luke Skywalker stumbles across. Researchers are now developing a 3D projection technique that will turn this amazing Star Wars technology into a reality. Currently, the device can only produce thumbnail-sized 3D projections. However, the researchers plan to scale up. They believe that their new technology may be used to improve medical surgery procedures and business communications in the future. Why is projection mapping used in events, I hear you ask? Well, projection mapping improves engagement of an audience and gives that extra wow factor to a performance. It provides an element of interactivity for the viewer, which in turn immerses them far more. It can make them even more memorable and more likely to be talked about for months, if not years. There have been plenty of live events that have used projection mapping, and it seems to be very popular amongst DJ culture, as you can see here with Skrillex's performance. With the rise of technologies such as VR, 360 video, and 3D film emerging into our everyday lives, I start to wonder just how far we can go with projection mapping for live events.